Dad raised us for 20 years is not the biofather and my siblings or cousins. Oh boy, things get worse. My father's old pickup truck was parked crooked in the driveway again, its rusted fender gleaming under the streetlight like a bad omen. I stood frozen, a DNA test result trembling in my hands, the words non-paternal match burning my eyes. 20 years of calling him Dad, and now the paper screamed he wasn't even my father. My name is Ellie, and I'm 22, the eldest of three kids raised by Daniel Harper in a creaky house on the edge of Willow Creek. There's me, then Jake, 17, all lanky limbs and quiet defiance, and little Sophie, 10, who still believes in fairy tales. We grew up on Dad's stories of his trucking days, his calloused hands braiding Sophie's hair, his tired smile after long shifts at the lumberyard. He was our rock, our only parent since Mom died when I was 4. But that paper in my hand, it was a grenade, and the pin was already pulled. It started innocently enough. A college biology project on genetics had me curious, so I sent in a DNA kit, expecting nothing more than a fun ancestry map. Instead, I got an email from a woman named Clara, claiming to be my second cousin. Weird, since Dad swore we had no family left. I dug deeper, cross-referencing with Jake and Sophie's old baby hair samples. Don't ask how I got those. The results hit like a freight train. Jake and Sophie weren't my siblings. They were my cousins, and Dad not biologically tied to any of us. I confronted him that night, rain hammering the roof like it wanted to drown us. He stood in the kitchen, still in his work boots, water pooling at his feet. "Ellie," he said, voice low, "let me explain." But how do you explain 20 years of lies Jake and Sophie overheard, their faces crumpling like tissue paper? Sophie's tiny voice asked, "Does this mean you're not my daddy?" And I swear the room got colder. Dad Daniel sat us down, his hands shaking as he told the truth. He and Mom were never married. She was his best friend, a runaway from a messy family, pregnant with me by some guy she'd never name. When she died, Daniel took me in, no questions asked. A year later, he adopted Jake and Sophie, kids of Mom's cousin, after their parents overdosed. He raised us as his own, legally binding us as siblings, but never told us the blood ties or lack thereof. "I didn't want you to feel different," he said, eyes pleading. "You were my kids." Jake slammed his fist on the table. "So we're just some charity case?" His voice cracked, betrayal raw. Sophie curled into a ball, sobbing. I wanted to scream, to hug him, to run all at once, but the worst was yet to come. Clara, my newfound cousin, showed up unannounced the next day. She was in her 30s, sharp-eyed, with a folder stuffed with documents. "Your mom's family isn't done with you," she said, her smile more warning than warmth. Turns out, Mom's side, our real blood relatives, were a tangled web of wealth and grudges. They'd been looking for us, not out of love, but because Mom's death left behind a trust fund nobody knew about. Millions locked away, now accessible since I'd turned 22. Clara's family wanted it, and they were ready to fight dirty. The legal letters started arriving, demanding DNA tests, custody hearings for Sophie, even accusations that Daniel had stolen us. Clara's uncle, a lawyer with a shark's grin, claimed Daniel was unfit, pointing to his low income, his drinking after Mom died, his lies about our origins. "He's not your father," Clara said to me one day, cornering me outside the house. "He's a fraud holding you back from your real family." Her words stung, but I saw the greed in her eyes. She didn't care about us, just the money. Jake started skipping school, hanging with a rough crowd, his anger spilling over. Sophie stopped talking, her sketchbooks filled with dark, scribbled faces. I was drowning, trying to hold us together while working part-time and dodging Clara's calls. Daniel, though he fought, he hired a lawyer with what little savings he had, sat through depositions, his face aging a decade in weeks. "I'm not losing you kids," he'd say, voice fierce but eyes haunted. One night, I found him on the porch, staring at the stars. "Ellie, did I ruin everything?" he asked. I didn't know how to answer. I hated him for lying. but I loved him for every sacrifice, every school play he attended, every late-night shift to buy us Christmas gifts. He wasn't my blood, but he was my dad, wasn't he? The court date loomed, and Clara's family pushed harder, offering me a deal side with them, get a cut of the trust fund, leave Daniel behind. I could start fresh, debt-free, maybe even go to grad school. But it meant abandoning Jake, Sophie, and the man who'd raised us. The night before the hearing, I sat with my siblings' cousins, whatever, and we talked. Jake, I'm still angry, admitted he was scared of losing Daniel. Sophie whispered, he's my daddy, no matter what. I realized then that family wasn't just blood. It was the choice to stay, to fight, to love through the mess. In court, I took the stand, my voice shaking but clear. I told the judge about Daniel's late nights, his bad jokes, the way he taught me to drive in that beat-up truck. I told them about the trust fund, how I'd rather burn it than let it tear us apart. The room was silent, even Clara's lawyer looking uneasy. The judge ruled in our favor. Daniel kept custody. The trust fund stayed locked until we decided as a family what to do with it. We went home, bruised but whole. Daniel hugged us, tears in his eyes, promising no more secrets. Jake punched his arm, half smiling. Sophie drew a picture of us, all four, under a bright sun. Things weren't perfect. Jake's still a hothead, Sophie's still quiet, and I'm still figuring out who I am. But we're together, and that's enough. Life's messy, and family's messier. Blood or not, we choose each other. What do you think? Does biology define family? Or is it something more? Share your thoughts, because I'm still wrestling with mine. In